Welcome back to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you are fantastic. I'm going to make another deal for you, just like the last podcast, is I want to invite you to make an investment in me today and liking this video, okay? So if you could go like this video for me, and if you do not see a return on your investment, you don't get the value from this video and podcast that you believe is worthy of a like, then please unlike the video at the end of the video, okay? So if you could do that massive favor for me, it helps with the algorithm for me to reach more people, help more people, impact more people. If you could take 5 seconds, hit the like button on this podcast and go 3, 2, 1. Thank you so much. Grateful for you. If you don't see value from this, honestly, unlike it by the end of the video, okay? But I'm sure you're going to be blown away by the value that I'm going to be bringing today. We're going to be going through how to set, communicate, and enforce boundaries into your life. Now, if you're someone like me and you're a bit of a people pleaser, and that's been me big time growing up, where I would always take the short end of the stick, I would always put other people's needs ahead of my own. I always devalue myself. I always lack confidence. It's something that was very, really, I guess, painful and present in my life, and that's why I'm very passionate about this topic. This is going to help out massively, okay? So the first things first is you need to get clear on the vision for your life, because until you get clear enough on what life you want to create, you will not do what's required to help you get there, which would include boundaries, which would include communication, which would include setting consequences. Because between where you are right now, and where you want to get to in life, there's a gap there, and that requires effort, energy, and there's a little bit of an unknown there, because you got to change, you got to take risk, you got to put yourself out there, you got to put in some effort and some work. Until you're so clear on that vision to the point where it inspires you so fucking much that you will do anything that's needed to get there, you won't do it. It's like when people procrastinate, or they make excuses, or they're lazy, or they don't follow through, is because you're not clear enough on the vision. Because there's 3 motivators in life. There's pain, there's pleasure, and there's inspiration. Pain and pleasure, very survival. It's like you want to get out of pain and you want to move towards pleasure, but that's very animalistic sort of motivators. Inspiration is from our spirit, is from our soul. It's derived from our purpose. If you want an unlimited amount of energy and motivation, inspiration, get very clear on your purpose and set goals in alignment with it. So the clearer you get on your vision, which is a detailed, broken down version of your life in the next 5 to 10 years once you've fulfilled your purpose and your mission. So for example, to give you a practical way to do this, is get clear on your values. I've got a free video on that. Go to YouTube, type in Lewis Huckstep values. There's a free video there. You can go figure it out. So figure out your values, and let's just use a hypothetical one right now. Let's say you've got a high value on relationships, you've got a high value in your career, you've got a high value in health, and maybe friendships and family, etc. What I would get you to do is, in the next 5 to 10 years, if you had life on your terms, what would your life look like in those areas? What would your relationship look like? What would your health look like? What would your family look like? What would your career look like? What would your friendships look like? And get so detailed that it feels real. This ties into visualization, which is a really good exercise to do, but you want to feel it now, because to get between where you are now and that desired outcome requires energy, requires effort, requires going through the unknown, and it requires that energy to push through when it gets hard. So you want to get really clear on it. Go into detail. What house do you live in? What type of relationship do you have? How do you guys communicate with each other? What's your level of intimacy like? What's your level of communication like? If health's important to you, what does your body look like? What's your energy levels like? How do you look after your health? So you want to get just really nitty gritty and visualize in detail the life that you love, the life that inspires you, because that will give you the want to enforce the boundaries. I had a great conversation with a client of mine. We were talking, and she had a roommate. I think she still actually has this roommate, because I don't believe she's actually implemented what I've recommended. And she's like, every time I get home, they live together. There's like kind of a granny flat setup where she would live in kind of the other room. But when she would get home from work, this roommate or kind of person living in the flat would come across and just emotionally dump on this person. I said, why are you allowing it? She's like, oh, I don't know how to do it. I said, well, you tell me. What type of life do you want to live in the future? She is a parent. I said, what type of parent do you want to be for your daughter? What type of life do you want to have in your career? What type of relationship do you want to have? And she started to do it, and I started to ask more questions. What would that look like? What would that look like? What would that feel like? How would that be? And I get it really, really clear on what is it that life you want to live like. And I want you to get clear on how is this emotionally dumping stopping you from getting there? And when you start to link that by you not enforcing a boundary, it's stopping you from getting the vision. And that's the part you got to get to click. But most people don't have a vision. Most people don't. They live day to day, week to week, month to month, and they're not clear on the life that they want to live. So this is why when I work with clients, we go through values, purpose, mission, vision to start with. Then we go through all the mental and emotional tools, how to regulate, how to manage your perceptions, how to let go, how to heal, how to set boundaries, how to communicate. Then we set goals. What do we need to do today to move towards that vision of yours? So I've used the word vision about 20 times already. I want you to get clear on the dream life. What does life look like on your terms in the areas that are important to you? Your family, your kids, your relationship, your health, your career, your business, your finances, your experiences, your learning. What is it that's most intrinsically important to you? Your values, which is what I've mentioned already. So that is first step. Number two, I kind of alluded to it just before that short story, is you got to understand the consequences of you not enforcing boundaries to that vision. Let's picture this. Picture the parent that you want to be or the relationship you want to have. Most people can relate to that in some way, shape, or form. And realize by you not enforcing boundaries, you will never get that vision. You will never get the life on your terms. And that pain, which is that other motivator we spoke about, the pain of not getting what it is that you're inspired to have will drive you to want to do the boundaries, to want to communicate them, to want to enforce them. Because to be honest with you guys, to give, I guess, a contrast to that example I just shared, if someone comes into my life at this point in my journey, and I used to be the opposite, I used to do the same thing. I used to have shit boundaries, shit self-worth, and just be a people pleaser, always take the short end of the stick. I used to be that person. Now, if someone does something, whether that's my partner, whether it's a friend, whether it's an employee, whether it's a family member, if they do anything that's going to put in jeopardy or stop me from getting the life that I'm going to live, that I want to live, that I'm inspired to live, I cut that shit off straight away. And I do it in a healthy way. We're going to go through how to communicate that. But I'm so firm with it because my future means so fucking much to me. The life I want to live, the impact I'm going to leave on this planet means so much to me that I'm willing to put in those boundaries. I'm willing to hold people accountable. I'm willing to cut people off. I'm willing to do what it takes because it means so much to me. But when I'm not clear on that, I allow it. And when you're not clear on your boundaries or your vision, you're going to allow people to overstep boundaries, or you won't even have boundaries set in place because you don't know what it is that you want. So first step is get clear on your vision. Second step, understand the consequences of not enforcing boundaries to you not getting the vision that it is that you want. You will never get the life that you want if you allow people to take away from your cup, not allow you to fill your cups up. It's going to stop you from getting that. So you got to really nut that down. So every time now, from this moment moving forward, when someone's doing something that makes you feel shit, that takes away from you, which doesn't allow you to fill your cup up, you're literally devaluing yourself and you are costing your future. And again, be honest, be brutal with yourself. It's going to cost you your family, your kids, your relationship, your health, your business. And when you can feel it that much because you're so clear on the vision, it drives you to enforce these. It gives you the drive and the push and the motivation, the inspiration to want to enforce these because your future means so much to you. So I keep summarizing it. Number one, vision. Number two, consequences. Really feel the consequences of not putting boundaries in place or allowing people to overstep them. Number three, this is actually the biggest indicator that you've got, or biggest reason why you don't enforce boundaries, is your self-worth is low. You have low levels of self-worth. Because when your self-worth, for people that are watching the videos, I'm doing a basic thing with my hand. If your self-worth is here, you will only allow boundaries or set boundaries below that. So if you want to have a life up here where you have life on your terms, financial independence, great emotional and mental health, great health, etc., you need to have self-worth that's up to that level, and you will hold people accountable to it. So you got to get clear on what, get clear on, or take a step back, to improve self-worth. This is my formula for self-worth. is get clear on your values. What's most important to you? Because self-value or self-worth or confidence or self-esteem, they're all very much similar to each other. But the best way to improve self-worth is to live to your values, prioritize yourself. Biggest example you can share. I want you to right now with me, think back when you were a child, when you were a kid and you felt safe enough, or you were in a safe environment to express your authentic self, the weird, silly, gross, smelly, interesting version of you. So you were younger, you were a child, and you felt safe. Okay, they're the two factors we need here. And you were expressing your authentic, weird, silly self. Did you lack self-esteem in that moment? Did you lack confidence? Did you lack self-worth? Fuck no. You were being the best version of you. I overuse this quote, but I keep using it. It's the statue of David. Michelangelo got asked, how did you make such a beautiful masterpiece? He said, it was actually quite easy. David was always there in the statue. I just had to remove everything that wasn't him. So the highest self-worth, authentic version of you is actually in you. You've just got all these personas and egos and masks of who you need to be good enough, to be loved, to be special, to be cared about, etc. Where when you actually be authentic, which comes down to expressing your values, which comes down to expressing your real self, you do have high levels of self-worth. So just again, the point I'm getting across is the biggest symptom or reason why you're not enforcing boundaries is your self-worth is very low. So to improve that, get clear on your values, live to them, and set boundaries with them, which is obviously the whole topic of this conversation. So let's rehash. Vision. Get clear on it. Fucking crystal clear on it. Get clear on number 2, the consequences of not actually enforcing boundaries, to not living that vision, not getting that very thing that it is that you want. Number 3, make sure your self-worth is high. That comes from prioritizing yourself, pouring from a full cup. Fill up your own cup so you can pour from a full cup. You've heard versions of that before as well. And now the last one, it's actually the practical let's enforce boundaries. Okay, so how do you do it? Number 1, get clear on your values. What's most important to you in your life? It might be relationship, health, family, career, finances, experiences, nature, painting, singing, dancing, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Well, your values are individual to you. Then I want you to go to your calendar. I've got my calendar literally right in front of me as I do this podcast. I want you to go to your calendar and schedule in what you need to do to fill up that cup. So say health is a high value of yours. What level of health do you need to do to fulfill that? Because that's different to everyone. Some people, it's 30 minutes a day. Some people, it's 5 hours a day. They're an athlete. It's what they do for a job and they love it. Nothing wrong with that. Everyone's different. Don't judge people for prioritizing your values because you're putting yours on them. So go through your calendar, look at what are the areas that are most important to you. It might be spending time with your kids, health, relationship, career, or whatever it may be. And I want you to go schedule in on a weekly basis or monthly basis, what do you need to do to fill that cup up? Okay, so schedule it in. Whatever doesn't get scheduled doesn't get done. It's a very big thing that I use in my life. Schedule it in. And that right there, you've just set the boundaries. You just set them. What boundaries do you need to do for yourself? And obviously this can go a little bit more in detail with, say, relationships, like what things do you do and don't tolerate. This will go a lot deeper into, when you dive deeper into individual areas of life, there'll be more boundaries within that. Okay, so I'm just kind of going generally here. You can go more detailed if you choose to, and I would recommend that you do. So you've gone through, you've got clear what's most important to you. You've gone through your calendar. You've scheduled in time of what you need to do to fill that up for you, whether it's an hour a day at the gym, whether it's an hour a day reading, whether it's 2 hours a day with your kids, whether it's spending an hour of undisrupted time with your partner. Schedule those times in, okay? Now, you've just literally created the boundaries. Next point is, how do you communicate that? And that's where some people really fall short, because when you don't have clarity, the uncertainty will generally scare a lot of people off. So I'm just going to give you some rough examples of how you can communicate on a really, really healthy way. So I use a tool called pre-framing. I use it all the time. It's the most powerful influence tool that I know personally, and also communicating on values. That's the other one. So pre-framing, really awesome. Think about all the problems that will probably show up when you do something, and communicate it at the start. So for example, say you were to enforce or set a boundary in an area of life. Say, for example, you set a boundary that you need an hour a day of alone time to recharge. That's something that I have because I'm a bit of an introvert. I like to recharge in my own time. That's just who I am. So say, for example, to do that, I would have to cut away time from friends or family members or even my partner. If I was to communicate that, a problem that I could see that could show up, it would probably hurt that person's feelings. So I would want to communicate that, set the stage, frame it in a way that softens the blow for when it is that I tell them that. So for example, if I say I'm going to use my partner as an example, and we've already had these chats, so this is a relatively real example. I'd say, hey babe, hey Georgia, can I please have a really open, honest conversation with you about something that's really important to me? And I would say along the lines of this, I'd say, babe, this relationship means so much to me. And the reason I want to have this conversation, which is honestly hard for me to say because it is a bit uncomfortable for me to have chats like this. The reason I'm willing to do it and I want to do it is because I want this relationship to succeed. And if I don't do this and say what I'm about to say, I don't think the relationship's going to last long term. So it means enough to me to have the uncomfortable conversation with you, but I just don't want to hurt your feelings. I just want to speak openly, honestly, and I just want you to take it in for a moment. And I would love to hear your honest feedback, and I would love for you to try see where I'm coming from so we can move forward from this. Does that make sense? So I've really set the stage, framed her really well from what I'm about to say. And I'd say something like, babe, the honest part is that I feel like I'm not getting enough time for myself to recharge. I feel like I'm not having that time by myself because I've got work, I've got friends, I've got time with you. I really just don't have enough time for myself to recharge. And it is something that's really important to me. And when I don't, I'm not 100% and I'm not pouring from a full cup. So I really need to prioritize this for my own mental health and myself so I can be a better partner for you. Does that make sense? Can you understand where I'm coming from? So instead of me just going up to her on the flip side and saying, hey, babe, I need more time for myself because I'm feeling really burnt out, she might be like, oh my God, I'm the reason. It's my fault. You don't love me. We're not meant to be together. And all that stuff could come up. I've pre-framed them. So I've closed those objections or those challenges before I've actually, I guess, drop the bomb or drop the news on her. So a really awesome way you can practice is practice pre-framing the thing that you're going to say, because I guarantee you, if you have not set boundaries or you're not enforcing them to people now, there's a conversation or two that needs to be had, whether it's with your partner, with your friends, with your family, with your co-workers, with your boss. There's going to be some tough conversations involved. I've done podcasts on tough conversations. I'm probably due to do another one on them, but get clear on the boundary. Get clear on what is it that you need to do to fill that cup up, and then practice communicating it. And the best way I can recommend it is, like I said, pre-frame the shit out of it. Pre-frame it. Be like, just think to yourself, what potential problems could arise by me saying this? And then how do I frame that in advance? How do I soften the blow and frame this person so that they're really ready to hear what it is that I'm going to say? That's the way I would recommend it. And then you want to also let them know the consequences. So to continue that conversation I was potentially having with my partner is saying something like, and babe, just to let you know, if this doesn't happen, if I don't prioritize myself, honestly, I'm going to burn myself out. It's probably going to build resentment between me and you. And it's just going to bring a lot of bad energy into this relationship. And honestly, it's probably going to cause it to potentially end in the future. That's why I want to be honest with you. I want to be open with you. I want to be transparent with you because I want this to succeed moving forward. I'll use another example that most people have, I've experienced this as well, and you might be experiencing as well, is when you've got friends or family members in your life that are not the right fit for you in your future. They give you shitty beliefs. They make you feel shit about yourselves. They've got unhealthy habits, like they're going out drinking all the time. And again, nothing wrong with that. But if you want to move forward in life in some areas, then sometimes that's not the best decision for you. So no judgment on that. But if you want progress in areas such as like career, business, learning, relationships, going out and getting hammered on the weekends is probably not the best decision to help you do that. Is there a time and place? Absolutely. Do I still drink? Maybe once or twice a year, but there's a time and place. But anyway, say you've got friends, and I used to have this circle of friends where they were going out clubbing and partying literally every single weekend. They would go out. It was like the Friday routine, Broadbeach, surfers paradise for people on the Gold Coast. And honestly, I was starting to get into business. I was starting to get into self-development. I was starting to fucking set my life up, to be honest. And I just didn't enjoy it. I felt guilty by not going there. And I felt like I was obligated to go there when I fucking wasn't. But I just really struggled with it. So another way you can frame that is say, hey lads, hey friend, hey girlfriend, whoever it may be, can I be really honest and open with you about something? My future means so fucking much to me. I've got clear on my vision. I got clear on the future I want to have for my career, my family, whatever. Share the vision. And I've just really realized that this type of behavior or doing these things is actually hindering me so much from getting there. So honestly, I'm not going to be doing XYZ anymore. And if you pressure me or guilt trip me into doing this, honestly, I'm not going to allow that anymore. And we're probably just going to limit the time that we spend together. And please don't take that personally, because I love who you are. I care for you of who you are, but my future means too much to me to allow this behavior to stop me from getting there. So I would love to still have you in my life. I still want to be friends with you. But if the only time we can connect and hang out is getting fucking hammered on the weekend, then we're just going to probably spend a lot less time together. Or we could do something else together as well. Whether it's we go to self-development events together, we work on business together, we do something else. So again, I'm referencing my vision, setting boundaries, and also consequences. Consequences is the reality, because some people don't really enforce those consequences. If this doesn't improve, this is going to happen. So that's the video. I hope you guys got some value from this. Let's rehash that. Get clear on your vision. Get clear on the consequences of not enforcing boundaries to not getting that vision. Make sure your self-worth is high. So prioritize yourself. Fill up your cup so you can pour from a full cup. Schedule it into your calendar. Schedule in what it is that you need to do into your calendar to fill your cup up. And then, getting a phone call. And then number 5, make sure you enforce them, communicate them, enforce them, and have consequences for not fulfilling them. Guys, I hope that helped. Again, if you got the investment of your like, please keep the like there. If you can comment, share with a friend. I love you all. My mastermind is now free. If you guys want to get access to it for a month, go to my Instagram bio. You get a free access to my paid premium content, absolutely free for a month. No obligations, no lock-in contract at all, where you can learn what your purpose is, your vision is, your mission is, your values are, absolutely free. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next podcast. See ya.